LAWsome by ConsultWebs. Breakthrough insights to build a thriving law firm with your host, Tanner Jones.
Hello, everyone. Today on the show, I'm excited to be talking with Dave Thomas. He's a good friend, but he's also the VP of National Business Development at Law Tigers. As head of business development and market expansion, Dave constantly seeks new ways to expand America's largest network of motorcycle accident attorneys. With over 20 years of experience, Dave is dedicated to building key industry relationships and boosting firm revenues. He holds a bachelor's degree in mass communications and business from the University of New Mexico, as well as an MBA in marketing and advertising from the W.P. Carey School of Business at Arizona State University, where he actually graduated top of his class. Today's topic, it's the power of a mixed marketing strategy. Dave's going to share his experiences and his insights when it comes to the ideal marketing mix for a law firm. So Dave, very glad to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Tanner, you're my guy, man. I was looking forward to this show, and I'm happy to be here.
Good. Well, we're all glad to have you on here. You have an incredible background and perspective when it comes to what I consider a full court marketing press. You know, somebody who steps in the market with the focus on dominating, and to do that, most any law firm has to consider a mix of marketing strategies, not just one singular effort. And so that's the heart of today's conversation, and I think you're one of the best ones suited to be able to have that conversation. So today, Dave, I think it's safe to say that many law firms might think that utilizing a mixed marketing strategy can get overly complex or maybe resource intensive, whether that's resource in personnel or resource in investment or a mixture of both. But digital landscape is evolving. It's reshaped how law firms really start to approach marketing. It's offering more opportunities, I think, than ever before for a law firm to consider how to get their brand out there. We obviously have digital, which we talk a lot about on the LAWsome podcast, but there's also traditional advertising, billboards, TV, bus wraps, radio, you name it. There's also grassroots marketing techniques of getting in the community and building a brand that way. So with all that being said, and lots of complexity in that, what's your opinion on integrated mixed marketing strategies? How essential is it for law firms to be competitive in today's environment?
Yeah, I really think that it's a game changer for many firms that will adopt the identity to take all of their eggs out of just one basket and disperse them accordingly. I think that a great analogy is I'm a sports guy, not a baseball player, but I think of a pitcher, Tanner. If a pitcher showed up on that mound and all he had was a fastball, it wouldn't take too long for you to make the adjustments to start making, a connection on that fastball, and soon that's going to be getting out of the ballpark. I think your marketing strategy should be, like that pitcher. You should have a curveball, a changeup, and then on that fastball, you can sneak it in every once in a while. And I think they all complement each other for success, right, on the mound. And I think that marketing should be approached in very similar fashion. Here at Law Tigers, you're right, Tanner, we specialize in digital marketing. Traditional or mass media, if you will. And then grassroots is kind of our secret sauce, right? And we say it's the secret sauce because a lot of folks have removed themselves from, grassroots community relations involvement. A lot of folks or even firms, even marketing firms, they just kind of check that box and say, well, we do a little bit of community relations. Mm-hmm. But here at Law Tigers, it's at the core of what we do. We obviously focus on a niche, and that's the motorcycle niche in the personal injury space. And so, yeah, we're going to have billboards, we're going to have radio spots, we're going to have television commercials for traditional, and then we're going to do everything under the umbrella of digital marketing as well. And then it's backed by our how-powered, feet on the ground approach with our market managers dispersed across the country. Today, I think we have 44 market managers, and they're specialized and really aligned to the community. They call them parts stores, dealership, tow companies. Their number one goal is to go out there and win friends and influence people, and to create evangelists in the community about Law Tigers. And so synergistically, these three marketing strategies, they complement each other. We call it infinity marketing. Our goal is to achieve affinity marketing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I wholeheartedly believe in not putting all your ducks or your eggs in one basket.
I would agree, and I've seen that. I've seen the failures of that. Getting overly dependent on one particular source and just missing opportunities all around. But I think it's also important to address the other side of when there are a million different things that you can be doing, it often causes some piece of like a paralysis on decision. And so it's good to hear from you and obviously others that you've worked with and how that all works together. But a big question that comes with that is, there are often a lot of hands involved in that. If you're looking at both digital, traditional, and grassroots, how do you begin to keep everything blended together and consistent? Is any advice or tips on that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a strategy that, and I'm glad you bring that up, because some folks may say, and I've run into firms that they'll try everything once. And that's not what we're promoting. We want you to identify what works and then do that. And so what we do is we're very strategic. Like as far as our traditional game plan, typically that would cost thousands of dollars to buy billboards and television spots. I mean, it's not cheap. We know this is one of the most kind of costly marketing strategies for legal marketing. So what we do is we're very strategic on where we buy billboards, the time of the year, maybe really associated to a certain event like that we have, like Sturgis, right? Or if we're out in Florida at some of the larger motorcycle events there, Daytona. And then so when we look at digital as well, we're very strategic in how we approach our digital marketing. And our grassroots is really the glue that brings everything together. One of the challenges that I see many firms that they may just do digital marketing, and I love digital marketing. I think it's the digital age. It's important. However, what they're trying to achieve is they want to get the phone calls. They want to get the phone to ringing, and so the end goal is to have potential clients call you for when they're in need, right, for your services. So why wouldn't you actually roll up your sleeves and jump into the trenches, so to speak, and create and open up that type of relationship with them and make that emotional connection. So that's what grassroots does for us. It allows us to meet people exactly where they're at. It allows us to come and to kind of undress ourselves to be not literally, Tanner, but to be vulnerable, because we feel that vulnerability is your strength, right? The more vulnerable you are, the deeper the connection, right?
Yeah, people want that.
Yeah, they want that, man. And so by doing that, the grassroots core function, it's only going to support your digital strategy along with your traditional as well.
I love that. I'd like to take it a little bit further, because I know, our listeners, some of them may truly be one-trick ponies. Maybe they're just, investing in one particular source. It's generated the bulk of business. I know we have a client at ConsultWebs that over 90% of his cases over the last several years have come through search engine optimization, SEO. This seems crazy. I mean, it's awesome in one respect, but on the other side, it's like, well, clearly, I mean, he's leaning heavily on one singular source. And so we see the value of diversifying, even when something's going really well. But kind of coming back to that other question on how do these, if you have multiple lines in the water, taking a fishing analogy, if you will, how do you ensure that they're all aligned and then they're complementing one another? I'm curious to see, what have you experienced on are some of the challenges law firms face when they start to layer on multiple campaign components to marketing?
Yeah, I think the number one mistake that law firms, when you diversify your marketing strategies, they tend not to track the results, right? We're very data driven at Law Tigers, so we use HubSpot, we use Salesforce as well. So we're really keeping a close eye on each strategy, how it's performing, where the cases are coming from, and it allows us to really measure, right? But also to say, okay, what do we need to do more of? What do we need to do less of? What do we need to continue to do? So measuring what you're doing out, even in the community. Many folks don't do that. They just show up and they give away products. They say, hey, man, that was a great event. Well, when we go to the event, we actually have a full-blown strategy. We show up with these iPads. We're aggregating information. We're building our database to follow up and to continue to solicit, to retarget these potential clients. So what we like to do is it's truly infinity marketing. It's like a flywheel, right? So we have our TV commercials going on, we have our billboards, our radio spots, then we have, SEO, PPC, we have our social strategy, our videographers, and then we're hitting them on another strategy with being out in the field. So once again, synergistically connecting, it really complements for a healthy marketing strategy. But to answer your question directly, you have to track. You track what's important and understand what's working, what's not. That's going to allow you to increase your efficiencies with your marketing efforts.
No doubt, and it gives everyone a confidence in continuing forward when there's accountability around the right data, the right metrics. But yes. Dave, I'm curious with, as you're layering on these components, be it traditional, grassroots, and digital, or I should say or digital, how does a law firm know once it's reached the right balance in the marketing mix? Have you found that there's this, a certain way to look at this to know, okay, we've reached it, we're at peak performance here with the balance?
Yeah, I think there's not a one size fit all. That's one thing as well. We get a lot of FOMO, fear of missing out, so we end up copying other law firms and saying, okay, if they're doing this, we want to do the same thing. But different markets are, they present different challenges and different opportunities. For example, we know Alex, you don't mind if I name drop Alex Shinara there. He's a great guy, by the way. But man, he dominates billboards in Alabama. So when we're in Alabama, do we feel that we can compete in the billboard game? Well, what we did is we did enough, right, that made sense. We did a heavy dose of digital marketing, but we really came in and hammered the ground game because we know that would be our strength. So the way I answer this question is, assess your market, understand, what your competition is doing out there, what are the opportunities, where are the challenges as well, and then go ahead and plan accordingly. So you may spend a little bit more time and invest more of your marketing budget within grassroots, or you may pull back and say, you know what, I'm gonna double down in digital because we're having great success. It's really being aware and once again tracking the data. That's just so important. It's going to help direct you and allow you to where you should be spending more of your efforts and energies.
I may throw you a curveball here, but I'm curious, if a law firm was talking to you, Dave, and they're like, these two things have worked time after time after time for our firm. We're seeing a tremendous return on investment from these two specific sources, and I'm being vague for a reason. But yep. But you're sitting here saying, no, we've got to do full court press. We've got to be everywhere. We've got to create more brand awareness. We've got to get involved in the community. How are you having that conversation with them? How are you convincing them that, while they're currently seeing a solid return on investment, that doing more will result in more? Have you had that conversation, and how does that usually look?
Yeah, that happens often. That's a great question, by the way, because I can tell you right now, with our mixed marketing approach, many firms, the big push right now, or the buzz is digital marketing, AI, right? Let's just, keep it, let's keep it real. and then obviously when you look at grassroots, I think that's a nice, hot, sexy topic now because they're like, hey man, we got to get in front of the people. However, when it goes to traditional, they kind of look at that maybe sometime as like, man, that's what we used to do, 10, 20 years ago. I don't want to put that much budget towards it. And, we really actually take a leap of faith and trust us. We consider ourselves the experts. And we tried it different ways. We tried just to go into a market with grassroots, right? We tried to go into a market with digital first, maybe a little sprinkle of grassroots. And I'll tell you, we were able to generate cases, no doubt. But it wasn't at the volume of cases that we're historically used to. And so once they were able to kind of view and say, hey, we brought this X amount of new cases, to this point of the year. Now, can we turn on another strategy? Then they saw the value, because what happens is you want to look at brand awareness, brand separation, and brand dominance. That's what we look to do when we enter a market. And obviously, we want to dominate a reasonable, percentage of market share as well.
That's interesting. So looking at it as growth phases, essentially, like anyone who's beginning, they essentially have to crack the awareness nut first. That's how you're looking at it. Yeah, that's great. And so then, so you go from awareness to what was the next phase?
Yep. So brand awareness, then brand separation. So yeah, now we want to beat our competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then brand dominance. That's our 3 steps there. And awareness is the foundation. That's going out there and telling your story, right? Because if you don't tell your story, somebody else will, and it's never in your favor.
No doubt, you want to control the controllables there, especially with the narrative. So, and I know this is a tough question to answer, but most firms who maybe not are not as diversified across the spectrum like we're talking about, and they're entertaining this idea. What is the timeline to go to dominance, from awareness all the way to dominance? Is that, a difficult question?
No, that's a great question, and that's where I have to give us a shameful plug. I think in a general practice, it would take much longer, because we only focus on motorcycle, cases and motorcycle riders. That's our core niche. So we're able to really gain, traction, right? We're able to gain traction very early in year one.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in many of our markets, we're already at 2.8 to 3x on our returns, and that's outstanding, right? And we know as we go into year 2 and year 3, that's only going to grow. So it's a highly that's the power of niche marketing. That kind of transitioning into kind of what we do. But as far as the general practice, I think it probably would take a little longer. But we can go into a market, never been there. We do have a large national brand, of course. But when we go into a market, they view us as like the Starbucks of motorcycle cases, right? So we know that there's a bunch of mom and pop coffee shops in your local community that you love, and you probably go to church with them. You probably play Little League with the kids, and so you're kind of committed. However, you and I know, man, we're both family guys. Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, and Starbucks, man. Whenever you go to those places, there's a line around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how, when we go and deploy the market, that's what Law Tigers does for our members stretched across the country. So yeah, that's kind of our, to piggyback on our conversation on brand awareness, brand separation, and brand dominance, we're able to do that just because of those 3, that triple threat, that 3-pronged approach.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that there's a formula there, and that there are essentially benchmarks to work toward, because there are virtually no law firms that are stepping immediately into brand dominance. As much as we all want that, you have to be realistic with it, which I can appreciate, that there are benchmarks to be able to get there. And it's also illustrative of growth and trajectory that you're on once you're going from awareness all the way up to the market dominator position. So to do that, Dave, I know that one big challenge for law firms today is this is complex. I think we can oversimplify it from a marketing standpoint, in that it's like, well, just get your brand and get it in front of more people. That's the simple concept behind it. But then there are a lot of questions that backfill that logic of, well, what brand? Who are we? And what message do we put out there? And who do we reach? And how many people do we reach? And how much do we spend? And how much do we allocate? And the questions just continue to pile on. And that's why a lot of law firms will hire a marketing agency or marketing group, much like Law Tigers, in that process to help them work through that. What have you found in your experience in working with law firms? What are attorneys struggling with respect to implementation and integration of their marketing strategies? What are you seeing?
Well, I'll talk about that. But when you said, what came to my mind immediately when you said what do they struggle with the most?
Yeah.
When it comes to marketing, they struggle with really their paradigm, right? Of their mindset. They view, because many attorneys, and I love you guys, man. You guys know that, but I have to speak my truth. Many view marketing as a transaction, right? They view it as an expense, Tanner. And I'm on the road a bunch. You're on the road. I see you all the time, man. And I talk to them. I say, hey, it's not an expense. It's an investment. So it takes time to build something great, right? And I know this is a little cliche. However, so they struggle with that. They struggle with the mindset that it's transactional. I need something, right away. We already know, man, just you live long enough, things that come fast in a hurry, probably not going to be that good. Are sustainable. But, slow and easy and consistency definitely wins the race. And that's very, I would say, parallel to Law Tigers, man. As we go out to the market, we're going to scale, and then it's like the water spigot that you turn on that doesn't turn off. But back to your direct question to you, as far as on strategy and expenses, where do they struggle? Um, most attorneys, some will shock you, man, and they're getting better, right? So these conferences, I know they're popping up everywhere, and a lot of folks are just exhausted with these conferences, but they're making attorneys better. I've been doing this 7 years, and early on, man, I would pick on them and say, man, you guys are great attorneys, but the business of law, you guys suck at. But a lot of firms I'm talking to, man, they're starting to speak marketing language now. They're starting to really understand, what it takes for us to be successful. So I think that's something that I would say that is Achilles heel for a lot of firms is not knowing how marketing works. But as we go out there and spread the gospel, man, you and I, Consult Webs, Law Tigers, other great marketing legal marketers out there, I think their knowledge and their education around marketing is increasing. So this allows them to also see value in strategies and understand that, it's going to take some time to build this thing, but if you can sit there and sustain and withstand some of the, the early storms, we're going to get there, and then we're going to get there with consistency. So that would be my answer for that question.
It's sound advice. And that's it. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. That's just what it comes down to. And being able to be guided is almost always going to be supportive to the decision-making process. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it's so easy to fall into overwhelm and make it very difficult to make decisions, much less take action and implement. And so that's where often an outside consultant or an outside marketing agency can assist a law firm, especially in the beginning stages of building a marketing strategy. So from your personal experience, Dave, what are some ways that you personally or Law Tigers or just what you've seen in the marketplace, how have you all helped law firms assess current marketing strategy and build strategy for them going forward with a confidence?
Yeah, man. So we go into a market. Most firms, first of all, they seek us out because they're looking to diversify their practice, right? They may be bringing in cases, but maybe the value's not there, or maybe the volume of cases are not there, or maybe the competition is a little too stiff in the automobile world or other areas of personal injury. As we know, that trucking and motorcycle cases, these are the most highly sought after cases for personal injury attorneys. Right. So we come in and assess and really understand, what they've done in the past. And most have just done, general PI practice. I would say the value proposition that we bring is we're able to diversify your practice with a very, a suitable motorcycle practice that's going to generate these high value cases for you in the end. If you're a litigating firm, you definitely want access to these cases, right? They're serious injuries, catastrophic in nature, and there are tons of them. And it's, the uniqueness of what we're able to offer as well is that, we want to keep motorcycle riders safe. A little bit about our program, Tanner, much of what we do, we don't focus on the accident or solicit and say, hey, more accidents, man, so we can get rich. No, man, what we do is we're riders ourselves. We're connected. We're devoted, to, true advocates of motorcycle riders, man. So we want to, practice, great riding habits, rider education and awareness. The byproduct is that, they see us everywhere. They know that we have their back. And if they do go out on a bike, then we're top of mind. So we're able to insert that as a plug and play in the personal injury firms that partner with us. It's an exclusive membership. And so once we do find a partner in the state, if there's one or two, many states have only one, some have several, then we're able to do this and do this together. My thing is, if you're a personal injury attorney, once again, looking to capitalize on high value cases, you definitely want to, niche down or niche up.
Yeah, there's so much wisdom in a marketing strategy that is niche down, where you know your value, you know your clientele, you're speaking the same language here, over there, and over there, and over there, and it's all aligned. There's so much value there. There have been a number of studies out there. In fact, Google came out with a study back around the pandemic era that looked at the importance of what they called frequency of your brand. So effective frequency, getting your brand in front of your clientele, your prospective clients at a certain interval in order to be able to essentially win over knownness, right? It's like everyone's competing for your prospective clients' attention. Food brands, local brands, local organizations, nonprofits, schools, like everything is distracting your potential clients. And so it's up to you as a law firm. If you're serious about growing your practice, you have to be in more than one or two places. You have to push that effective frequency, and everything Dave's talking to has proven that model. You have to be everywhere, or you at least have to be aiming to be everywhere with that unified message. Dave, I'm so thankful you were willing to come and share some advice. What's one thing maybe that I didn't ask that you would have wished I would have?
Well, I wish you would have asked about our upcoming motorcycle accident summit that's taking place next year, March 5th through the 7th.
Okay.
At Conrad Hotel in Orlando, Florida. It's a great summit in tandem with National Trial Lawyers. But hey, man, I just wanted to give that little plug. I think the world of you, man. You're not only a friend, you're a brother. And thanks for giving this platform to talk about marketing. I love talking about marketing, and also to showcase what we do at Law Tigers. I appreciate you, my friend.
Well, same to you, Dave. I think much of you. How can people, our listeners, learn more about the conference coming up next year?
Yeah, they can go to the motorcycleaccidentsummit.com. That's the motorcycleaccidentsummit.com. You can go to lawtigers.com. You can also go to National Trial Lawyers as well.com. So we're plastered everywhere, man. Once again, it's all about just, making each other better. We're here. We're strong advocates, just personal injury attorneys. We want to make their lives easier. We want to give them things that's going to help enhance, their firm and help them grow in a meaningful manner. And so that's what we're here to do, man. And I know you guys do the same at Consult Webs, man. So it's just iron sharpen iron, man. That's what it's all about.
I agree, Dave. Thanks again for joining the show. Until next time.
Hey, Tanner. Thank you, bud.
LAWsome by Consult Webs with Tanner Jones. For show notes, links, and info, go to consultwebs.com/podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Watch for the next LAWsome episode to discover more breakthrough insights to build a thriving law firm.